is a discussion with Huw Owen for the Cardiff Story Museum's Oral History Project with reference to Cardiff City Football Club. Huw, can you tell us about your first experience of watching Cardiff City play football?
Yeah, I'd been up staying with my cousin in Merthyr, and his dad had taken him to watch a game, and he'd come back and show me a programme. I think he got a badge, you know, and he was raving about Toshak and this, that and the other, name I'd vaguely heard. I was 4 at the time, and I nagged my dad after I came back from Merthyr. I said, I wanted to go, and eventually gave in. And it was years later I realised it must have been a big thing for him, because Dad was a Jack through and through. And I don't think he'd ever been to see the city. I never really had the discussion, because he died too young, you know. I never really had the discussion with him as to, was it a problem for him as a Swansea town and a Whites fan through and through, to take his son to watch Cardiff City. But I don't think in the 60s it was an issue at all, because he was quite openly a Swansea fan. And there'd always be a guy in the bob bank with a radio, and he'd keep in touch with the Swansea score, and it just wasn't an issue in those days. And he used to take me down to Vetch as well. And a lot of people a few years younger than me find it very, very difficult when I say I do have another team, and it's Swansea. And it's still the case now. And don't get me wrong, I love Derby Day. It's the best day out. And for 90 minutes, I hate the guts of the Jack. So-and-sos. But I got enough mates and enough family who are Jack fans. Very often it's cracking getting together with them, whether it's in Cardiff or Swansea, or sometimes we have to get bussed all the way back from Swansea. We jump in the car and we drive back to Swansea to go and have a meal with family and friends and discuss the game and everything.
So what age would you have been on that first occasion?
It was early 1967, so I'd have been coming up to 5 years of age. So yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. And after that, I mean, you mentioned going with your father. How did your career, if I can put it like that, go in terms of when you went, who you went with?
Well, I went with Dad for quite a few years. So 67 we started. So 67 to, well, I'm sure it was the Austin Evans season. I'd have been 74, 75, something like that. I used to go with my dad all the time. Some of my mates used to come along with them, but it was always Dad who drove us and took us. And it was great. It's funny, I was talking about this with my mum last week, and there was a Saturday ritual where Dad would take us all to the old Franklin's, which is a pub now in Canton. And before the game, we'd have a corned beef pasty, which to this day I say is the best corned beef pasty I ever tasted, and a custard slice in Franklin's. And on the other Saturdays, if we'd go and watch rugby, we'd go down to Swansea, or whatever we'd do, Dad would still go to Franklin's. And so there's no wonder I'm the shape I am, because for years I lived on Franklin's, corned beef pasties and custard slices every Saturday, every year. And then 73, 74, it was a game against QPR. I'm pretty sure it was QPR. We were stood sort of in the corner of the Grange end, and a bloke next to us who Dad had been talking to suddenly collapsed in a heap, but he'd got a golf ball with a nail through it in his head. He was okay. I think they sort of took him away and saw to him, but my father never went to another football match after that. Put me off for a while, I have to say. But I carried on going then till 1981 with my mates, and then 1981 I went away. I was away for 10 years one way or the other. I'd always go and watch the city when I came home from holidays. I lived in London for some of the time, and so anything around the home county. So I went to a lot of the esoteric grounds in those days. I went to the Leighton Orients and the Fulhams and the Brentfords and all of those. Anything near London, I'd go and watch the city there. Then I had a year and a half travelling around the world, mainly New Zealand, and the old man used to send me the Pink Echo, which I used to get sort of the Tuesday, the Wednesday afterwards. I knew the score by then, but it was just a bold score that I'd seen in some newspaper on a Sunday or a Monday in New Zealand. But it wasn't until a Wednesday that I'd actually see what went on and who scored and everything.
Right. Any particular player sticks in the memory, not just at that time, but throughout the period you've been following?
I think there's loads. You know. I mean, Mark Hazelwood, when he came, he wasn't there for a long time, but I taught Mark Welsh. And that was great because he just sort of said in a programme one day, oh, I've come back to Wales and I'd like to learn Welsh. And I just wrote to him, I said, well, I follow the city and I speak Welsh and I'm more than happy to do it. And he used to get me into the old players' lounge after the game, and over a pint or two we used to try and sort of pidgin Welsh, talk about what had happened in the game, and that's how he started learning Welsh, Mark, and he's very good now. And I can't take all the claim. There's a lot of other people who did a lot more work, but I started him off on that. So that sort of stuck out because that's not something that would happen in this day and age. I can't see, with all due respect, one of the players there now saying, "Oh, I'd really like to learn Welsh." So that was good. I mean, there's quite a few others over the years who you've got to know. I remember playing cricket against Gary Bell when Gary Bell was, the left back, the starting left back, and we went out on a Wednesday night or something in the parks, and God, are you Gary Bell? Yeah. I was, oh, marvellous. I think he bowled me out first ball because I was just totally starstruck. He's a much better left back than he was as a bowler. So yeah, those are the sort of people that stick out to me. Yeah.
What about opposition players, or player that particularly sticks in the mind?
Oof. I think Scott Murray.
Let's say for good reasons.
Oh, for good reasons. For good reasons.
I'll let you decide.
Yeah, I think there was a lot last year. There was one. Marco Gabbiadini scored a goal for Northampton about 15 years ago. Early season game. It was a cracking shot, and I remember the whole ground applauding him, and that stands out because that was a nice moment where you realise, that there's, it's not all about inter-tribal rivalry and everything. That even football fans can acknowledge a lot of skill. I think last year in the Premier League there was 3 or 4 occasions. Spurs was one, Liverpool was another. You just came away and saying, well, we really have seen football played at a different level in Leckwith for the first time, certainly in my lifetime, I think, because I can't remember football of that sort of standard being played by Cardiff City before, and watching it live and everything. So I think there was a lot of lasting, no individuals as such, but as I say, certainly Spurs and Liverpool, two sides of stuff, and bear in mind Spurs only beat us 1-0 with an injury time goal. But yeah, they stick out. But no, I think there's been lots over the years, lots of characters, in the days gone by. I used to get a lot of interaction with players, certainly standing on a bob bank like I used to do. We used to get a lot of interaction with away players. Remember saying when Aaron Ramsey came with Arsenal, saying something in Welsh to him, and he just a look on his face, and then he answered me back. I thought, God, that's Aaron Ramsey, just spoke to him in the middle of the game, sort of thing. So yeah, lots of great memories over the years.
What, and I assume you have them, what feelings did you have when the club moved from Ninian Park to the new Cardiff City Stadium?
Oh, it's always this mix of your head against your heart, isn't it? And my head said, we've got to do this, because, just the common sense business side of you says, this place is falling down. It's going to cost so much to rebuild it, and just to make it safe for people to come, it's probably a lot cheaper and a lot clever and a lot smarter just to move to a new ground. We only moved 200, 300 yards away, didn't we? So your head says, it's inevitable, it's got to happen. That's the way humanity is. But my heart, there were so many memories there. Yeah. So many memories there. It was very, very difficult to come to terms with. And I think my love affair with the club was starting to finish by then anyway. And really looking back, that was probably the time I should have stopped going then, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned memories of Ninian Park, a particular one. And I mean, one that stands out above all.
I think above all, that game against Aldershot in the 90s, when everybody knew it was Aldershot's last game, and a historian will put me right. There was maybe 100 or so, 200 maybe Aldershot fans there, probably around the 2,000 City fans. The usual 200 or so of us grouped on the Bob Bank, partly to try and keep warm, partly to try and get the singing going, partly just, is what you did in a dark hole in Canton on a Tuesday night or whatever. And then the humour in those, and certainly, when you had much smaller crowds, it was a lot easier for the humour to come out because it was a lot easier to hear it. And I think also you felt in a small crowd, and it was almost like, you know, you were chatting with your mates, and they'd laugh, you just say it a little bit louder and so more people would hear, and that was the way that humorists had developed. And there was a lot of very cruel humour about Aldershot going bust, and, you know, could they afford the showers and all of this sort of stuff, and that was getting to the players, and it was all a, you know, it was all a bit surreal. We'd had a bucket collection, I think, before the final whistle, and then when the final whistle went, you sort of realised that's it, that's the last ball this club are going to kick. And more than that, you looked at this small band of fans that had travelled with them, and you put yourself in their shoes, and it could have been us so easily in those days. It could have been us so easily. And suddenly just something come across that something huge had sort of died in front of you, and we just started applauding them. And they came and applauded us, and it was just, to me, that's what sport and football and society should be about. You know, you should be able to say, fine, there's a time for banter, and there's a time for fighting, and there's a time for competing, and to win at all costs, but then there's a whistle, and there's a line, and it stops there. And I think that night summed it up for me perfectly, where football as a sport ought to fit into society.
It sort of leads on to the next question, I suppose, about the links that a club has or should have with it, the community in which it sits, both very local and regional. Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, these days, I sort of, you know, I've gone back, and nearly all of my sport now is played and watched within my local community, whether it's playing cricket at Whitchurch or watching cricket, Cardiff, Radar or whatever, watching rugby, Rwbain at Llanyshin, and I've almost gone full circle, because that, to me, is what it ought to be about. That's where football clubs grew from. I mean, you know, Cardiff City grew from a bunch of boys who played cricket together and wanted to stay together in the winter, and that's what kicked it all off. How many other clubs started from church congregations? And, you know, was it Millwall started? There was, or Reading was the biscuit company, Millwall was the jam factory, and you know, that's where the roots of it all are. That's what drove it, and it's just lost sight completely. Did a club ought to have community responsibilities? I don't think we can legislate for it. And the sad thing is that football has evolved into the horrible beast that it has. I don't think any legislation will sort that. FIFA have made sure you can't anyway. But maybe you see, you know, you get quite heartened by what you hear from Germany, where clubs have been reverted back into the community, where a lot of players are staying there not because of the money, but because they feel, you know, that there's more to life than money, maybe, and that being part of a community and being able to sort of be as one with the fans and other people, that's a lot more important. And I think that's a lesson for life. And if more of the world could realise that there's more to life than money, maybe we wouldn't be in a lot of the trouble that we're in four corners of the globe at the moment. But I don't think you can legislate, I don't think you can make a football club be responsible for its community. I think it's something that's got to grow naturally. But it's something I'd love to see happening here in Cardiff.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much.
That's all right.
Yeah. So your link with Tim is through football, is it? There's not
we worked together.
Ah, right.
I think, I don't remember what came first, whether we worked together or whether we knew each other through football. But that must go back over 20 years, yeah. So, yeah, we worked together at the BBC, and as it happened, we were good mates before we actually worked very, very closely together.
Right.
And it just worked out that way.
Yeah, right. No, it's just interesting. I mean, I'm you know, Tim's the chair and I'm the vice chair of the Albert Esteem Trust. It just interests me the mix of people who've turned up and given their time, and it is a lot of time once you do it properly. It's from all sorts of different backgrounds and experiences, and all with one thing in common. That's Cardiff City Football Club.
Oh yeah,
God bless it.
Yeah, but I mean that's what's so sad at the moment is, you know, I've had friends of 30, 40 years and I don't see them anymore.
That's right.
And you don't realise, you know, these because you only live one life, don't you? And you realise without that little bit of glue at Cardiff City that you lose out so much, you know. And that's another reason I stopped going. I think is a lot of my mates stopped going 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. My son, for example, for the last 10 years I've paid for a season ticket for him, so they're both of us good. But when they changed from playing in red to blue, he just said to me one day, "Dad, I don't want to. Sorry, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to go." And he stopped. And I think it's the same with Chester, which you know, yeah.
Well, we went, and then we made the conscious decision before the end of last season that we weren't going to go again. We certainly didn't renew season tickets. I had a season ticket for 25 years, and Rob's had one for 17. But he's been back a couple of times. I'm not anti-Cardiff. No. It's still my club. It'll always be my club, but at the moment, I just can't go and watch it.
That's what my son Graham said. That's exactly what he said.
I think there was one time last year, the team we played scored, maybe blue, and I don't think I was concentrating properly. And I saw a team in blue scoring, and I got my feet, and people were looking at me funny. I said, "Sorry guys, genuine mistake." And everybody laughed, because everybody around me knows I'm a Cardiff fan.
That's right, yeah.
And it's a genuine mistake. And that sort of brought it home to me and say, hang on, I don't support the team that plays in red, I support the team that plays in blue, you know?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just making sure this is off.
So I probably making more sense now than I was when I was trying.
Not that we didn't say anything. Technology and I don't get on very well together.
So the output of this project is you're gonna build a website with all these different oral histories on it, is it?
Yes, that's right. And as far as I know, they've got funding for a project, for a display upstairs at which these recordings will be played back. You know, very similar to what, I don't know whether you've been downstairs.
Yeah, I've most lunchtime.
So it's similar to that as far as I know, but with a theme of sport, but Cardiff City in particular.
Because I don't know if Tim's told you, but I did the Cricket Museum over in Safari Gardens.
Oh, right.
And we've got an oral history project there. It's a digital history project because some of it is oral, some of it is video, and a lot is emails, and we've scanned photographs and everything there. But there's 6 different multimedia strands to it. So I don't know. Yeah, I know we were talking to these guys then, but I don't know. I haven't seen any of our stuff that they've taken on here.
I don't know. I can't know. Right, thank you very much. That was great. Great, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I hope I'd love to see you down the stadium one day again.
No. Call into the trust office.
Yeah, at the moment I'm just not motivated to go. That just doesn't feel like my club anymore. No. As your son said, it's a side that plays in red. It's an old room, treats me like I'm a piece of dirt.
Yeah.
I just don't feel. I felt really awkward going there last year. Didn't feel welcome at all.
That's awful, isn't it?
Yeah. And so you say, well, it was more if they paid me 500 quid. I don't think I'd put up with this feeling.
Not at the moment.
So I'm certainly not going to pay 500 quid to go and watch it. But hopefully one day it'll change and I'll
be back.
Yeah. Best of luck with the project.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, all the best. Take care now. Bye bye. Right. How do you get this thing? How do you get it to switch off? Press the off button.